Hi, I've come on to make a video which I don't know how this is going to go because it's about a particular form of advertising which I find unethical, basically, and quite dark in the way that it works. And I wanted to talk about it referring to one specific advert that I've just come across because it's such a good example of it. It's quite an extreme example as far as I'm concerned, and therefore I think it's quite an easy one to look at. But the reason I want to share it is because there's something in looking at something like this which is so blatant, and really I never thought I would make a video to do with anything like this, but it's like it crossed a line. And I was really angry when I first came across this. So I'm not angry anymore, but even as I start talking about it, I can feel my reaction. There's something about looking at something that's very, very blatant and to start to question where else is that going on. Yes, in advertising that's trying to sell something specific, but also in other areas of life, you know, when maybe somebody's trying to get us to do something or believe something that they want us to believe. Okay, so I will talk about this specific thing. The background of it is that I was looking at things on Instagram, and one of those posts came up that is obviously an advert, but and it was to do with anxiety. And anxiety is something that I've had a relationship with for a long time. And it's been better and worse. That's one way of talking about it, or bigger or smaller at various points of my life. For years, it's been pretty okay, really. But the past weeks, it's been looming rather large to a point that really isn't very comfortable some of the time. So I saw this and I thought, oh yeah, all right, I'll have a look. Had a look. As any of you who've looked at the online type of advertising are probably familiar with a whole load of text about how brilliant it is and it's worth this, but you can have it for that. But I looked at what it actually was, series of recordings and exercises, and I thought, yeah, well, that could actually be quite useful for me right now. And it's $27. I'm like, okay, that I will take a punt on this. Had a look at the place that was selling it by searching for it elsewhere. It looked like a bona fide kind of a place. I thought, okay, I will do this. Now, that's okay. But then what happened was once I had bought it, you get sent, or once one buys it, you buy it, I buy it, you get sent to a screen where it says, your order is almost finished. Please watch this short video. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to play it on my computer over here. It's a voice, so you will hear my voice because what I'm going to do is read out the text that comes up at the same time as this guy is speaking, because I just don't feel comfortable playing the whole thing. It feels kind of weird. But see what you think, okay? So it starts off with, congratulations. You did it. You just made the biggest leap forward for your future and you don't even know it yet. Make sure you listen to this important message and make sure you don't exit this page, because if you do, it can cause errors to your order. At this point, I was like, really? I haven't come across that before, but I suppose many people might go, well, there might be some techie thing that I don't understand, which means it might actually cause errors to your order. And if you're inclined towards anxiety that has that kind of chatter, what you know, disaster type thinking, you think, oh, well, maybe, yeah, I'd better, hadn't I? So that's already, anyone who goes past that bit is probably already a bit of a sucker, right? So it carries on. This video is short, it's about 10 minutes. So make sure to watch it till the end. It'll be well worth your while. You know something's coming that's going to be selling. Now, I don't actually think you realise what just actually happened here. You came in a prisoner to your anxiety, and now you are about to break free, and I am excited for you. You came in wondering when the next panic attack would strike, and now You're going to accomplish things you've always dreamed about. Anxiety was kicking your butt, and now you're the one that's going to leap right back up and kick it down again. You knew it was a problem that was holding you back. You knew deep down that something needed to change, and you decided to do something about it. You looked at the situation and decided that you're putting an end to it once and for all. Many capitals here. You're going to put an end to anxiety. And by doing this, you planted your flag on the ground, telling your anxiety, this is the end. And it's time for you to move on. You didn't just buy another product or book. You're actually making your life better. And I mean it. There isn't a single aspect of your life that won't improve when that looming anxiety monster isn't hovering over your head like a dark cloud. You're about to find out that your anxiety no longer controls the way you think, act, or even plan your day. When you learn how to use the product you just bought, you'll sit back and watch as anxiety, fear, and doubt wash away, leaving you with nothing but bliss as you take control back over your life. I've seen it firsthand, how fast someone's life can change when they remove anxiety from their lives, and I know the same thing will happen with you. Your relationships will get better. If you have a spouse, you'll find that spark that first drew you close will reignite. Your children will see you as a leader, and you'll be proud of how far you've come. Your career or business will flourish even more too, as you take on new risks and opportunities, and relentlessly pursue new opportunities to grow. Challenges and high-pressure situations no longer riddle your nerves or leaving you feeling anxious or fearful. You'll be free to grow and live your best life as your best self. Yes, this is real living for thousands of my clients, a life kicking anxiety's butt to the curb day after day. Will you experience that? Right, I'm going to stop it there. Will you experience that? Now, what's happened so far? It started off kind of good, didn't it? Like, yeah, you've done this amazing thing. And everything's going to be great. Your children will see you as a leader. Your marriage or your relationship or whatever will rekindle. Really bliss, all that. Did we have looming anxiety monster? There was a lot of reference to anxiety in that, wasn't it? Kicking anxiety's butt like you're in a battle and anxiety's looming. And you're thinking, okay, you've got somebody who's already somewhat focused on anxiety because they've bought this thing, and then they're watching this video, and they're even though the language is on the face of it quite positive, there's still this focus on anxiety. So yeah, you're doing well, but don't forget the anxiety, don't forget. So will this happen? Next bit. Or will you fall back into your old habits and routines? Maybe you'll let anxiety creep right back in. Maybe you'll still avoid the important things, spending all your energy worried about your next anxiety attack. Maybe life will stand still as anxiety continues to torment you and even hold your true self back from those around you. Sadly, these possibilities could be real. How could this happen? I'll be clear. It has nothing to do with how well the program you just bought will work. The program you has just been bought has been proven to work by thousands of my clients. Thousands. It's marvellous, isn't it? And people who have used it. Yet all your dreams and aspirations can quickly turn into sleepless nights riddled with nightmares. Isn't that great? But there is something else that could happen. Something very dangerous and very tragic that could prevent you from seeing any success with this program at all. And I want to talk to you about that. I bet you do. No matter how great these exercises are at helping you overcoming anxiety in the present moment. Aha, now we're getting to it. You still need to put in the work to ensure random anxiety attacks won't even happen at all. Without this critical step, your subconscious mind will continue hurling anxiety and stress your way. I'll tell you why. The problem is caused by your past experiences. You can sabotage yourself if you, for whatever reason, decide either not to use the program you've just bought, or you don't work on removing anxiety from your core that is being caused by these past experiences. Here's what I mean. The thing you just bought is a fantastic set of tools to rapidly remove current feelings of anxiety. You need to use and implement those. It will help you in the moment to cope with those feelings. Coop them up and lead yourself to recovery. What does he mean, coop them up? However, some people prefer a faster approach, an approach that is focused on helping them work through any past beliefs and personal trauma ingrained in their subconscious mind that is causing them anxiety. If that is the case for you, this is very important. So let me tell you the story. Understanding that anxiety is a subconscious problem. Right, I realise that the core reason people experience anxiety is either because of limiting past beliefs, past traumatic events, and then he goes on to say how he's brilliantly come up with this other program that is going to address that, and that one happens to be $97, which is the one-time discount. Of course it is. And so you either press that giant big green bar, or you press the tiny little text underneath that says, "No, thank you. I'll pass on your generous offer and take my chances. I don't want help with focus, motivation and goal setting." Yeah, we've also got testimonials and all that. But what was that about? What was that about? You've already got somebody, and this is about anxiety, but it could equally well be about a depression, a phobia of some sort or another, anything that is the bit of us that it is a weakness, I suppose. The bit like you're talking about leading someone by the nose, which as far as I know refers to leading a bull by that ring that used to be put through that very tender part of their nose. So this immensely strong and sometimes dangerous animal can be led somewhere because it's such a tender point. So there you go, you're being led by this tender point to a state of fear, basically, where you're saying, well, if you don't buy this, all this other stuff that you've just got really excited about, or I've helped you get really excited about, even though I've been linking you with the thing you're worried about at the same time, if you don't buy it, you're just doomed. You're completely doomed to utter failure. I just find it hard to believe, and I shouldn't do, I suppose. I've been around long enough that somebody, and that's not the only example, but it is the most extreme example, and almost deliberately, possibly you could go as far as to say traumatizing attempt to sell something that I've come across, which I'm sure there are many others around there. I've seen others that are less kind of horrible, shall we say, but still along the same track. You've done this free program of mine, and yeah, well, if you don't sign up to the other one, it's probably you're not gonna get very far, are you? Or something that I have not personally come across, but I have heard about, which is almost worse than this actually, is when people have been offered free readings of some sort or another, and have been told that you have a terrible entity attachment, and that's part of the free reading. Of course, I can help you with that, and that'll only be, I don't know, $8 million, whatever it is. It's irrelevant. It doesn't matter what it is. The point is that the fear has been injected in there. Now, I'm sure that nobody who's even contemplating running an advert that is anywhere in the arena of that kind of fear engendering would be watching this. But God, if by any chance they are, please don't. Please don't. It's so wrong. And the more important thing, I suppose, is just to show what do we do if we find in any aspect of our lives, because this doesn't necessarily come at us when we're prepared for it, when we're expecting. I certainly wasn't expecting that. But when we find ourselves making choices or tempted to make choices out of fear, there was a part of me, and I'm old enough to be aware of how certain forms of manipulation can work. I'm sure there was a bit of NLP in there, even though I'm not technically trained in NLP, but that's only one way of getting people, or trying to get people to think a certain way. I could see what he was doing, I knew what he was doing, and yet there was a part of me that was still wondering. It's like, what if he's right? What if he's right? The me that, if I'd have come across something like that 30 years ago, may not have been able to separate it as well as I can do now. And I think, especially the first time we come up against something like this, it can be quite overwhelming and it can be very convincing. So what do? I mean, I think the first thing is to notice, because that was such a blunt hammer. It's brilliant, really. So thank you to this person for putting it out there to look at. But often things are not quite as blunt and can be quite subtle. But I suppose the thing is, if we are being invited to buy something, do something, believe something, change our beliefs about something, and we can have a moment, if we've in the state to be able to have a moment to think, okay, what is actually going on here? I think one of the simplest things one can do is this: does this make me, I was about to say, is the response I have to what I'm being invited into a response that is more aligned with fear, or is it a response that is more aligned with joy, love, optimism, and so on? Or perhaps just plain old pragmatism, but pragmatism that is not connected with doom and fear. Another way of trying to think that is just sit with it. Think, what is it that I'm being offered here? And again, the offer can be a strong invitation to believe something, do something, buy something. Does this make me feel light, or does this make me feel heavy? Sometimes we have decisions that we have to make that might necessitate a degree of discomfort, but ultimately they should not be driven by fear. And that, I believe, even if that's the best program in the world, it might be, as far as I know, I haven't done it, it could be fantastic. But the way it's being presented is, it's clever, it's not subtle, but it's that kind of clever that I don't really think is anything to be proud of. I know I've talked about being non-judgmental, but there are times when I think one has to draw a line, and this is one of them. So yeah, where else is this going on, huh? And how do we make the best decisions? And when I say the best decisions for us, perhaps also involving other people, but not because somebody else is telling us that we ought to be frightened if we don't do it. Okay. And I think we got to laugh as well, because bottom line, it's funny that things like that are out there in the world. It's not okay that this is becoming normal. Again, hopefully not something to that degree, but that style of advertising seems to be accepted on some level as being an okay way to try and sell something. Nah, not as far as I'm concerned anyway. If you've got different ideas, then yeah, I think I'm feeling quite strongly about this for the moment. But with anything, I think there's always room for discussion. There's always room for the potential for movement on that. So if you have a different opinion, that is always interesting. Thanks, and bye for now.